we embark on a story based on Robert Ross, a Canadian soldier serving in World War I. We witness his guilt, struggles, and battles in the novel The Wars by Timothy Finley. I'm going to first analyze the novel with a biographical criticism and see how Timothy Finley's life impacted the novel. Timothy Finley was an all-rounded talented man, not only known for being an award-winning author, but he was also an actor and a playwright. Timothy was born on October 30th, 1930 into a high-class Toronto family. He grew up in the Rosedale area and attended St. Andrew's College. Unfortunately, he dropped out by the 9th grade due to poor health. This led him to pursue the arts such as dancing and acting, making a big influence on his future career. Finley joined the Stratford Festival Company, traveling across England and America, performing Shakespearean productions. Finley has won many awards in his lifetime that recognize his prestigious work and dedication as an author and a playwright. He received the Governor General Award for the novel The Wars. Later on that year, Finley won an award by the government of France for his significant contribution to literature. Finley died on June 21, 2002, leaving a footprint on Canadian history. Upon his death, he was inducted into the Canadian Walk of Fame. Now I'm going to examine how the author's life impacted the novel The Wars. Timothy got inspiration to write about World War I because his uncle fought in the war. His parents constantly told him stories about the war. He managed to authentically replicate World War I in the novel by reading old letters from his uncle. Finley says that Robert Ross's love for animals originates from Finley's love for animals. Finley has many animals at home, including a horse that he rescued from a barn. These factors made a big impact on the novel The Wars. Now I'm going to analyze the novel The Wars using Freud's psychological criticism. Sigmund Freud believed that there are three levels of consciousness: the id, the ego, and the superego. The id represents one's deepest desires. The superego displays the moral part of the mind that focuses on what's socially acceptable. And the ego is a rational part of the mind that reasons between the id and the superego. Robert Ross's id is shown at the end of the novel when Robert frees the horses from the barn, showing his deepest desires. Robert Ross's superego is shown on the boat when he does the moral thing and shoots the horse so that it wouldn't have to suffer. Robert did this even though it was not what he desires. Robert's ego is shown when he enlists in the army. He joins the army because it is socially acceptable, but he also joins the army because it is his desire to free himself from the guilt of Ramona's death. Now I'm going to analyze the symbols in the novel The Wars. Robert's pistol symbolizes power and security. Robert felt that with the pistol, he was armed and safe. Water represents change. Water appears whenever a big event happens. An example would be Robert's shower after Ramona's death. Fire takes Robert's life. Fire symbolizes pain, death, and destruction. It is shown through guns and flamethrowers. Horses represent friendship and freedom. Robert finds acceptance of the natural world, especially horses, once he leaves home and enlists in the army. Robert felt free when he ran. This is symbolic of happiness because running always gave Robert the escape he needed, especially after Ramona's death. Now I'm going to analyze how Finley uses foreshadowing in the novel The Wars. Rabbits are symbolic for innocence. When Ramona's rabbits are killed, it foreshadows Robert's loss of innocence later on in the novel. The fire of the warehouse foreshadows Robert's death. Robert received intense third-degree burns in the barn, which ultimately led to his death. Robert witnesses Traffler having homosexual intercourse from a peephole. This foreshadows Robert's rape later on in the novel in the bathhouse. Pathos is a rhetorical device that bases arguments on feelings. Pathos was shown in the novel The Wars, when Mrs. Ross tells Robert that the reason he has to kill Rawona's rabbits was for his sister. In this way, she was using the feeling of guilt to reason his actions. The novel The Wars is filled with rich literary devices and theory. Timothy Finley takes the story of Robert Ross and uses it to illustrate the tragedies of World War I.